Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old is gold, but these rare dime coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Coin number 1. Today, we're turning our attention to a tiny but potentially life-changing coin from the United States, the Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 1977. Now, don't be fooled by its small size. This coin may be just 10 cents in face value, but under the right conditions, it could be worth a jaw-dropping sum. So stick with us, because by the end of this video, you might find yourself racing to check your change jar or your old coin collection. Let's begin with the history behind this modest little coin. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was designed to honor the legacy of a man who led America through the Great Depression and most of World War II, and also as a tribute to his work with the March of Dimes, an organization dedicated to combating polio, the disease Roosevelt himself battled. The dime has had a consistent design for decades, featuring the profile of Roosevelt on the obverse, or front, and a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch on the reverse. These symbols represent liberty, peace, and strength. Simple, elegant, and packed with meaning, this design has endured through generations, which makes any variation or error in the minting process all the more fascinating to collectors. Now, 1977 might seem like just another year in the long history of American coinage. But here's where things get interesting. While millions of Roosevelt dimes were minted that year at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a very small number have something unusual about them. These anomalies are not always visible to the naked eye, but to a trained collector or with the help of magnification, these tiny differences can spell the difference between pocket change and a small fortune. Some of the rarest and most valuable Roosevelt dimes from 1977 are those that contain minting errors. These could include misaligned dies, off-center strikes, double dies, or even planchet errors where the coin was struck on the wrong metal. There have been examples of dimes with no mint mark that were actually meant to carry one, or those that were struck on planchets intended for foreign coins. These are not the kinds of flaws that make a coin worthless. On the contrary, these are exactly the kinds of imperfections that drive collectors wild and send prices skyrocketing at auctions. You might be wondering how such errors happen in the first place. Well, minting coins is a mechanical process, and like any machine, things can occasionally go wrong. Dies wear down, blanks get mixed up, and alignment can slip. The US Mint produces billions of coins every year, and while their quality control is top-notch, a few errors are inevitable. When these flawed coins make it out into circulation, they can go unnoticed for years until someone finally discovers that what looks like an ordinary dime is actually a rare treasure. Condition, of course, is everything in the world of coin collecting. A Roosevelt dime from 1977 that's been through decades of wear and tear might not hold much more than sentimental value. But one that has been preserved in mint or near mint condition? That's a different story entirely. Coins that are graded by professional services and receive high ratings for their condition and rarity, especially those with verified minting errors, are the ones that command top dollar. And here's the part you've been waiting for. Just how much can one of these rare Roosevelt dimes from 1977 actually be worth? Well, if you happen to have one of these coins in uncirculated condition, or better yet, if you have one with a rare minting error, then you might be sitting on a miniature gold mine. Some of these coins have been sold in private collections and auction houses for between $25,000 and $65,000. Yes, you heard that right. That little 10-cent coin, the one that you might have walked past or dropped into a vending machine without a second thought, could be worth as much as $65,000 under the right circumstances. And now, before you run off to search through every coin you've ever owned, here's a word of advice. If you believe you have a valuable Roosevelt dime, don't clean it or try to alter it in any way. Cleaning can reduce a coin's value dramatically. Instead, store it safely and have it evaluated by a reputable coin grading service. Even if your dime doesn't hit the jackpot, you may still discover that it holds far more value than you ever expected. So what do you think? Do you have any Roosevelt dimes tucked away in a drawer or an old coin jar at home? Maybe it's time to take a closer look. You just might be one of the lucky few who discovers a hidden treasure in the most unexpected place. Thanks for watching and being part of this incredible numismatic journey. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep exploring the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest finds and stories. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your next dime be the one worth a fortune. Coin number 2, we're diving into a story that might just change how you look at your spare change forever. Imagine holding a tiny silver-colored coin, something you've probably spent hundreds of times in your life, without ever knowing that just one special version of it could be worth thousands. That's right. Today we're uncovering the mystery behind one of the most surprising coins from the late 1980s, the 1989 Roosevelt 1 dime with the P mint mark. A coin so common, yet under the right conditions, so incredibly valuable. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and let's go on a numismatic adventure to uncover the hidden potential of the 1989 P Roosevelt dime. Let's start with a little history. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, right after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It replaced the winged Liberty Head dime, also known as the Mercury dime. This change wasn't just about honoring a beloved leader, it was symbolic. Roosevelt was closely associated with the March of Dimes, a movement that fought childhood polio and later expanded into broader public health work. So, when you look at a Roosevelt dime, you're looking at more than just a coin, you're holding a piece of American legacy. Now fast forward to 1989. It was the end of a decade filled with innovation, politics, and pop culture milestones. The Berlin Wall was coming down, the World Wide Web was being invented, and in Philadelphia, the U.S. Mint was striking millions of Roosevelt dimes with a tiny P to indicate their place of origin. Millions of these dimes were made, used, and forgotten. But here's where things get fascinating. Hidden among those millions are a small handful of dimes that break the mold, literally. We're talking about coins that have flaws, quirks, or characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. These are not your ordinary coins. They are rare, they are unusual, and they are worth serious money. You might be wondering, how could a dime from 1989 be worth anything more than 10 cents? The answer lies in something that collectors go crazy for: mint errors and exceptional condition. Some of the rarest and most valuable 1989 P dimes have been found with double die bursts, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or even incorrect metal compositions. There are reports of dimes struck on planchets intended for other denominations, or even with misaligned dies that created wild and visually striking errors. These aren't the kinds of coins you see every day, these are one-in-a-million mistakes that slipped past quality control. But it's not just mint errors that can make a 1989 P dime valuable. Condition plays a massive role. Coins that were never circulated, never touched by human hands, and preserved in near-perfect condition can be worth a fortune. These coins are usually graded by professionals and given a rating MS67, MS68, or even higher. The higher the grade, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. It's the difference between a forgotten coin in your junk drawer and a centerpiece in a collector's showcase. So what does this mean for you? It means that if you've got a stash of old dimes, especially ones from the 1980s, you need to take a closer look. Examine each one carefully. Look for any signs of error. And if you find a 1989 dime with the P mint mark that looks different, unusual, or is in pristine condition, it's time to take it seriously, because here comes the most exciting part of this story: the value. A rare 1989 P Roosevelt dime, with the right combination of condition, rarity, and mint error, has been known to sell for jaw-dropping amounts. We're talking about actual sales through coin auctions, private collectors, and specialty dealers. The kind of coin you'd never expect to be worth more than a soda could actually pay for a car, or even a college education. Yes, if you happen to own one of these extraordinary 1989 P Roosevelt dimes, it could be worth anywhere between $18,000 and $55,000. That's right, $18,000 to $55,000. For a single dime, just imagine the feeling of digging through an old coin jar and discovering that what you thought was pocket change is actually a hidden treasure. This isn't fiction, it's real, and it's happened before. Collectors and dealers across the country are constantly searching for coins like these, and they're willing to pay top dollar to get them. So don't underestimate the power of a tiny coin. It may have been minted over 3 decades ago, but its value today could shock you. Coin number 3. We're diving into the incredible story of a tiny coin that's turning heads in the world of numismatics, the rare 2012 Roosevelt dime from the United States. And now, at first glance, this little 10-cent piece might not look like much. It's the kind of coin you'd expect to find at the bottom of a cup holder, lying forgotten under the couch cushions, or rattling around in your change jar. But hidden among these everyday coins, there's a rare version of the 2012 Roosevelt dime that could be worth far more than just 10 cents. And by far, we mean thousands of dollars. So, stay with us as we explore what makes this coin so special, what to look for, and why collectors are willing to pay top dollar. Yes, you heard that right, for this elusive little silver-colored treasure. Let's start with a bit of history. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, introduced just after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was created to honor his legacy, particularly his efforts to combat polio and his leadership through World War II. Over the decades, the design has remained largely consistent, with Roosevelt's profile on the front and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Fast forward to the year 2012. By now, the Roosevelt dime had been circulating for over 65 years. Millions of dimes were minted that year, mostly for general circulation. But as with all things in minting, not every coin is created equal. Some coins from 2012 were struck with unusual features, subtle errors, or ultra-rare mint marks, making them incredibly desirable for collectors. And that's where the rare Roosevelt dime from 2012 comes in. One of the key details to watch for is the mint mark. Most dimes are struck at either the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a small p, or the Denver Mint, with a d. But a few mysterious dimes from 2012 have surfaced with odd variations, coins struck with unusual die errors, double dies, or strange surface anomalies. These rare versions are not widely known, and only a handful are believed to exist in pristine, uncirculated condition. That's what makes them so fascinating and valuable. Another factor? Condition. Coin collectors place a huge emphasis on a coin's state of preservation. The rarer the coin and the better its condition, especially if it's graded as MS68 or higher by certified coin grading services like PCGS or NGC, the more valuable it becomes. And when a 2012 Roosevelt dime checks all the boxes for rarity and condition, the price can skyrocket. What's also driving demand is how underestimated this coin has been for years. Many collectors simply skipped over modern dimes, assuming that newer coins had little or no collectible value. That's changing quickly, as more numismatists are realizing that rare modern errors and low population coins can be just as valuable, if not more, than century-old coins. And then there are the die varieties and minting errors. Some 2012 Roosevelt dimes have been discovered with doubling on the lettering or numbers, particularly the date or the word Liberty. Others show signs of off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or die cracks. These flaws, created during the minting process, are considered errors but are prized by collectors for their uniqueness. Each error coin is effectively one of a kind, and when authenticated, they can command serious prices. So how do you know if you have one of these valuable dimes? Start by checking the date and mint mark. Then, examine the coin carefully under good lighting or magnification. Look for anything unusual, doubling, cracks, missing features, or a misaligned strike. If the coin appears untouched or close to perfect, you may have something special on your hands. For serious cases, it's always a good idea to have the coin evaluated by a professional grading service. Alright, now it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. Just how much could this tiny 10-cent coin be worth? Well, if you happen to have one of the ultra-rare 2012 Roosevelt dimes in near-perfect uncirculated condition, especially one with a verified mint error or low mintage anomaly, it could fetch anywhere from $15,000 to as much as $48,000 on the collector's market. That's right. A simple dime, something most of us overlook or toss into a jar, could be worth more than a brand new car, or even a down payment on a house. So the next time you find a dime lying on the street or buried in your couch, don't be so quick to toss it into the coin tray. Take a closer look. You never know when you're holding a modern-day treasure. If you found this video interesting, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the world of rare and valuable coins. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever found a rare dime? And which coin should we investigate next? Coin number 4, we're talking about the 2014 Roosevelt 1 dime with the P mint mark. It's sleek, it's silver-colored, and on the surface, it seems just like every other dime. But under the right circumstances, this tiny 10-cent coin could be worth thousands. Yes, you heard that right. This little coin, minted just a few years ago, might be holding a secret that could shock even the most experienced collectors. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and let's take a deep dive into the fascinating world of the 2014 P. Roosevelt dime. First, let's talk about where it all began. The Roosevelt dime has been a part of American life since 1946. It was introduced to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader who guided the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. More than just a political tribute, the dime also symbolizes Roosevelt's connection to the March of Dimes, an organization that began as a campaign to combat polio and has since evolved into a major public health advocate. Now, fast forward nearly 70 years to 2014. The Philadelphia Mint continues to strike millions of dimes bearing Roosevelt's profile, along with the P Mint mark just to the left of the torch on the reverse side. At first glance, there's nothing particularly unusual about the 2014 Roosevelt dime. It's light, it's metallic, it's what you'd expect from a coin in modern circulation. But in the world of coin collecting, not everything is as it seems. In that sea of perfectly ordinary dimes, a few rare gems have emerged. These are coins with minting errors, unusual characteristics that occurred during the manufacturing process. And for collectors, these flaws are anything but mistakes. They're goldmines. So what makes a 2014 P dime stand out? Some of the most valuable coins from this year have shown extraordinary minting errors. We're talking about off-center strikes, where the image is noticeably shifted from the center. Or double die outbursts, where parts of Roosevelt's face or the lettering appear duplicated. There are even examples of broad strikes, where the coin is larger than normal due to missing collar restraints during minting. Some have been discovered struck on the wrong planchet entirely, intended for other coins or denominations, giving them an unusual weight, shape, or even sound when dropped. One rare 2014 P dime was discovered with a rotated die error, meaning the front and back images didn't line up when flipped. These kinds of mistakes don't happen often, and when they do, they're quickly snapped up by serious collectors willing to pay thousands to add a unique piece to their collection. But that's not all. Even if your 2014 dime doesn't have a major error, it could still be worth more than you think if it's in exceptional condition. A dime graded as mint state 67 or higher is extremely rare, especially if it includes strong details, sharp edges, and no signs of circulation. Coins with full bands on the torch, crisp and fully separated horizontal lines, are considered premium quality and fetch higher values on the collector's market. So why is this important for you? Because that random dime you tossed on your kitchen counter, or the one hiding in your glove box, could be one of these rare survivors. These are the coins people often overlook because they're too new or too ordinary. But with mint errors and pristine condition, that assumption could cost someone thousands of dollars. It's also worth noting that some 2014 P Roosevelt dimes may carry subtle variations not immediately visible to the casual observer. Minor die changes, shifts in metal composition, or microscopic details can all contribute to a coin's rarity and eventual market value. The only way to know for sure? Inspect closely. And if you suspect you've got something special, send it to a reputable coin grading service. So here's the moment you've been waiting for. If you were lucky enough to own one of these rare 2014 Roosevelt dimes from the Philadelphia Mint, especially one with a verified minting error or preserved in flawless, uncirculated condition, then you might be holding on to something truly extraordinary. Under the right circumstances, this seemingly simple 10-cent coin could be worth anywhere between $12,000 and $38,000. That's right, $12,000 to $38,000. For a dime that could have easily been dropped into a soda machine or slipped between the cushions of your couch the next time someone gives you change, take a second look. Because one of those coins could be hiding value that goes far beyond its face. You don't have to be a full-time collector or a professional grader to strike it lucky. Sometimes, it just takes a curious eye and a little knowledge, and now you have both. Thanks for joining us on this amazing journey through one of the most exciting modern coin finds. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep exploring the hidden treasures in your change, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you're first in line for our next coin discovery. Remember, the smallest coin can carry the biggest surprise. Coin number 5, we're about to reveal how a tiny coin that most people overlook every single day could be hiding in plain sight and worth a small fortune. Today's spotlight is on a humble dime. Not just any dime, but the 2018 Roosevelt dime with the D Mint mark struck at the Denver Mint. You might think, wait, 2018? That's pretty recent, right? And you'd be absolutely right. This coin isn't ancient. It wasn't buried under layers of dirt in some archaeological dig. It could very well be sitting right now in your pocket, in a coin jar on your shelf, or mixed into your daily change. But here's where it gets interesting. While millions of Roosevelt dimes were minted in 2018, a very small number of them have characteristics that make them extremely rare and extremely valuable to collectors around the world. Let's take a quick look at the history of the Roosevelt dime to understand why this modern version is so important. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was a way of honoring a leader who had guided America through the Great Depression and World War II, and who had personally championed the fight against polio. His legacy lives on through this coin, which has remained largely unchanged in design for over 75 years. By 2018, Roosevelt dimes had become so common that most people stopped paying attention to them. But like in every series of coins, there are always a few standouts. What makes certain 2018 D. Roosevelt dimes rare isn't just their year or mint mark, but something even more intriguing: errors, variations, and unbelievably high grades. In the world of numismatics, even modern coins can carry incredible value if they exhibit specific features. These features might be the result of mistakes during the minting process, like double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, or missing elements. Others are valuable simply because they are in flawless condition, so flawless, in fact, that only a handful exist in such a pristine state. Some 2018 D. Roosevelt dimes have been discovered with what's known as die doubling. This happens when the coin is struck more than once with a misaligned die, resulting in a ghostly, double image of the lettering or numbers, particularly on the date or the word Liberty. Others have been found with partial color errors, where the edges look irregular, or with a misaligned die that shifts the entire design off-center. These are the types of quirks collectors go crazy for, and then there's condition. This might surprise you, but coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that scores a 70, known as Mint State 70 or MS 70, is essentially perfect. For a coin to reach that grade, it has to have no flaws visible even under magnification. It must be untouched, crisp, and clean, like it just left the mint and floated into your hand without ever being touched. For a modern coin like the 2018 D. Roosevelt dime to receive such a high grade is extremely rare, and that's what drives its value through the roof. Collectors and investors are constantly looking for these hidden gems. A rare modern coin in near-perfect condition is a valuable asset, not just a curiosity. The market for rare coins and high-grade modern dimes has been growing year after year, as more people realize that not all treasure is old and rusty, some of it is shiny and recent. So how can you tell if you have one of these rare 2018 Roosevelt dimes? Start by checking the mint mark. You want to look for the D, which stands for Denver. Then, look closely at the coin's surface. Are the numbers crisp and aligned? Is there any doubling in the date or lettering? Is the rim fully formed? Is the strike perfectly centered? A high-quality magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe will help you examine the details. If you think you found something special, the next step is to get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will authenticate your coin, assign it a grade, and put it in a tamper-proof holder, dramatically increasing its value and trust in the marketplace. Now here comes the part you've all been waiting for. Just how much could one of these small, modern Roosevelt dimes be worth? If your 2018 D. Roosevelt dime happens to have a rare mint error, or if it's in nearly perfect condition with a certified high grade, it could be worth anywhere from $8,000 to as much as $25,000 to the right buyer. Yes, you heard that right. That little dime, often tossed aside or used to pay for parking, could be hiding enough value to pay off bills, take a dream vacation, or even fund part of your next investment. So the next time you get change at the grocery store or find an old coin in the couch cushions, don't ignore the dimes. Take a moment to look a little closer. Because in that small silver disc, there might be a hidden fortune waiting for you. If you found this story fascinating, hit the like button and be sure to subscribe for more coin mysteries and money-making discoveries. Tell us in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're about to go dig through your change drawer right now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep your eyes open and your coins close. Happy hunting!